Witnesses continue to testify in the trial of Derek Chauvin, an OU Health Sciences Associate Professor arrested, and a look at the runoff election for Cleveland County. This is OU Nightly. Well, thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Will Blessing.
And I'm Mckenzie Gladney. We begin with a long day of testimony in the trial of Derek Chauvin. The former Minneapolis police officer has been charged in the death of George Floyd. Witnesses who took the stand today set the stage of what happened in the moments before officers were called to the scene. Camilla Bernal has the latest from Minneapolis.
In day 3 of testimony,
I'm claustrophobic, man. Working with me. God, I'm claustrophobic, man.
New body cam footage of George Floyd's arrest. And a man who witnessed it breaks down on the stand. Earlier, never-before-seen surveillance video of George Floyd inside Cup Foods. The footage shows store cashier Christopher Martin accepting a $20 bill while selling Floyd a pack of cigarettes.
When I saw the bill, I noticed that it had a blue pigment to it, so I assumed that it was fake.
Twice, Martin says he went to the SUV that Floyd was sitting in, trying to get Floyd back inside the store to discuss the possibly counterfeit bill, but says Floyd would not come back in. That led to a call to police. A short time later, Martin testified there was a commotion outside the store. He went back outside and saw Floyd motionless with Chauvin's knee on his neck.
What was going through your mind during that time period?
Disbelief and guilt.
Okay. Why guilt?
If I would have just not taken the bill, this could have been avoided.
In cross-examination, the defense focusing on Floyd's behavior inside the store.
He was delayed in his speech, and you believed him to be under the influence of something.
Correct.
Police were originally called to the scene when Floyd was suspected of passing a counterfeit bill. The trial is expected to continue for at least 2 weeks.
A longtime associate professor at OU is being investigated for sexual abuse charges. Haley Weger has more on the story. Haley?
Thanks, Will. A 66-year-old professor at OU Health Sciences Center was accused of putting a hidden camera in a teenager's bedroom. Alan Whitten was arrested in his Edmond home on 12 counts of attempted lewd acts with a minor yesterday, but the investigation is still ongoing.
That has since changed and could change again as the investigation continues to 20 counts of lewd acts with a minor under the age of 16.
Edmond police was notified earlier this month when a camera was found in a 14-year-old girl's bedroom.
We asked about the camera in the teenager's bedroom. He said that he didn't believe he should answer that question.
When Whitten was arrested, he told officers they would find some strange and disturbing things during the search of his home. The investigator noted Whitman's search history of child pornography and a dozen pair of female underwear in his safe. Whitten has been put on administrative leave from OU, and university officials say that in his role at OU Health Sciences Center, Mr. Whitten had no contact with minors or patients as part of his work at the university. As the investigation continues, Edmond police urges any other possible victims to come forward.
Our investigators have reason to believe there could possibly be additional victims. So if you've ever been in the home of Alan Whitten or, spent any significant time there and believe you could be a victim, you can contact our investigator directly.
If you feel like you may have been a victim, please call this number to speak with the investigator on the case. While Whitten is being held at the county jail, Edmond police emphasizes that this is still an open investigation. Will and Mckenzie, back to you.
President Biden is releasing the first part of his $2 trillion infrastructure plan. Katie Arata has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
Yes, Mckenzie, President Biden announced a $2 trillion plan, American Jobs Plan, in Pittsburgh today. Biden says the goal is to improve the nation's infrastructure and shift to greener energy. He is also pitching his plan as an investment to benefit communities of color, rural Americans, and other areas lagging in modernization. Money will go towards transportation, water infrastructure, among other needs. The plan would be paid for by raising corporate taxes. Today is Transgender Day of Visibility, and the Pentagon is recognizing it, announcing new policies today. The policies reverse the Trump-era policies that ban transgender people from serving in the military. The regulations now allow transgender people who meet military standards to enlist and serve openly in their self-identified gender, and they will be able to get medically necessary transition-related care authorized by the law. And 2 Capitol Police officers are suing former President Donald Trump over the January 6th insurrection. The officers say Trump should be held responsible for inciting the crowd. They say they suffered injuries and emotional damages from the attack. Each of them is seeking at least $75,000 in damages. Trump hasn't yet responded to the lawsuit. In Mckenzie, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has signed a bill legalizing recreational marijuana in the state. Taxes collected from the measure are projected to reach $350 million a year. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Katie. Now, Pfizer announced today that its COVID-19 vaccine is 100% safe and effective in children as young as 12 years old. The children in the trial had similar effects to the vaccine as adults. The study will continue for 2 more years to track information about long-term safety, but Pfizer is requesting approval for emergency use in the coming weeks. Many parents have expressed that they will vaccinate their children as soon as possible.
Well, I think it's the responsible thing to do, number one, because even though he had COVID, I think 3 weeks ago, there are a lot of variant strains that are going on out there right now, and they're a lot more aggressive. And I don't want him to get it. And more importantly, I don't want him to pass it on to someone else.
Pfizer hopes to vaccinate children prior to the start of the next school year. And in Oklahoma continues to see a lower number of COVID cases as people continue to get the vaccine. The Oklahoma State Health Department reports 390 new cases today for a total of more than 10,500 active cases in the state right now. And the CDC says just under 7,900 Oklahomans have died from COVID in the last year. Health experts advise everyone to get one of the vaccines as soon as possible.
Now, it is an absolutely beautiful day outside, what I would call perfect weather.
Taylor Stephenson joins us now with the first look at the forecast. Taylor, is this nice weather going to stick around for a while?
Well, I have to agree with you. I'm from the South. This is absolutely beautiful weather. Right now on the Oklahoma City skyline, I mean, no clouds in the sky at all. We're currently sitting in the low 60s. We have winds coming out of the north about 16 miles an hour. Dew points are very low. That's keeping us dry and feeling nice outside. But coming up in a few minutes, I'll talk about the freeze warning tonight. We're 70 and sunny for a couple days, and I have a spring outlook for you on the way. Back to you at the desk.
Early voting begins tomorrow in Norman, and voters have several decisions to make. OU Nightly Sydney Baulier joins us and is telling us what's on the ballot.
For the 3rd month in a row, the Cleveland County Election Board is gearing up for an election day. This month, Norman residents will possibly see 2 things to vote for on their ballot.
Ward 3, though, there is a runoff, and that includes mostly West Norman and North Norman on Ward 3. And then also the city has got a proposition on there for new roads and repairing existing roads, and it's a bond issue, and that's on a separate ballot that voters will be voting on. So everybody that lives in the city of Norman, city limits, will get that ballot. If they live in Ward 3, they will get the ballot, but if they don't live in Ward 3, they won't get a Ward 3 ballot.
In Ward 3, residents will be deciding between Allison Patrone and Kelly Lynn for their city council representative. In February, neither candidate got the majority vote, leading to a runoff election. Patrone advocates for a brand new senior center and updating the current stormwater plan. Lynn emphasizes supporting the police force and standing up for common sense. Voters will also vote yes or no for the issuance of a $27 million bond to maintain and resurface neighborhood streets. Since 2005, Norman voters have approved a street maintenance bond every 5 years. The hot race on this ballot seems to be the runoff for City Council in Ward 3 between incumbent Allison Patrone and Unite Norman endorsed candidate Kelly Lynn. Early voting opens tomorrow at 8 a.m. and ends Friday at 6 p.m. Election day is next Tuesday, April 6th. For OU Nightly, I'm Sydney Baulier.
For more information regarding what's on the ballot or voting procedures, visit the Cleveland County Election Board website.
Now, this tragedy resulted in the death of 17 Americans, but victims and families impacted will receive compensation after a settlement. More on that after the break.
Plus, the nation gained more than 500,000 private sector jobs in March. What does this mean for the U.S.? After the break. Welcome back. Sudan is sending Americans millions of dollars.
Grace Whitten joins us with why U.S. victims are receiving reparations. Grace?
Mckenzie and Will, American victims of several terrorist attacks will get millions of dollars from Sudan. The U.S. Secretary of State said today that our country has received more than $300 million from Sudan, which will go to victims and families impacted by the 1998 bombings at U.S. embassies, the 2000 attack on the USS Cole, and a murdered U.S. aid employee. Sudan has to pay the settlement to have the country lifted from the state sponsors of terrorism list. Several high-profile Georgia-based companies are being boycotted, including Delta, Coca-Cola, and Home Depot. The boycotts come after a law that changed voting rules in the state, restricting voter access. Those unhappy with the new law think that these large companies should have taken a tougher stand against it. Experts have said that this will have little impact on profits. It's not yet known if the companies will respond to public pressure. The payroll company ADP has reported over 500,000 jobs added to the private sector this month. This is the strongest report they have released since September, but the number still falls short of the amount of new jobs economists expected for this month. But as the job market expands, the unemployment rate in the U.S. continues to fall. As of January, the Oklahoma unemployment rate stands at 4.4%, while the national rate is a little over 6%. And Russia is developing a COVID vaccine for animals. The trials will start next fall, but we don't know yet if the U.S. plans to buy the vaccine. Mckenzie and Will, back to you.
Thanks, Grace. At-home COVID-19 tests could be coming to your home.
When we come back, where the tests are being tested and what it could mean for the future.
And I have a look at your forecast. We have sunny weather right now, but let's see if that continues into the rest of the week after the break. I don't know if you noticed, but it's pretty nice outside. Right now in Oklahoma City, there's very few clouds in the sky, if any. Right now we're at 63 degrees, sunny skies. Winds are coming out of the north and that dew point is low. But we're going to dip down to the 30s across the state for tonight's lows. 38 in Norman in the city and then 33 out in the Panhandle. This has prompted a freeze warning in those purple counties. That lasts until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So if you live in those areas, please bring in your pets, your plants, and your people, because it will get a little chilly up in the northern part of the state. But we are in a quieter pattern across the state. Right now we're under a high pressure system that will move out to make room for another high pressure system. Over on Friday, we're going to be in the 60s for most of the day. And that high pressure system will just dominate that atmospheric pattern. We're going to be in the 70s on Sunday, all across the south, and most of the country is going to be very warm. So that's something to look forward to over the next few days. In the next few weeks, we already have our outlook above average temperatures for this time of year, and precipitation with this will be low. So we need to keep an eye out for this because it could mean we could run into some fire weather danger and brush fires that come up with these dry and warm conditions. But for the next 2 days, 65, 66 as our highs, and that will continue to 75 and sunny on Sunday, reaching almost 80 by Monday, in the 80s by early next week. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Taylor. Looking forward to some of those warmer temperatures. 2 U.S. counties have become the testing grounds for rapid at-home COVID tests. The project called Say Yes COVID Test will roll out 2 million tests to counties in North Carolina and Tennessee. Each participating household gets 25 nasal swab tests that give back results in 10 minutes. The project will study how people use the test and how that impacts COVID trends in the community.
I think if people could have the COVID test at home and then bring the result into the hospital with them, and as long as hospitals or doctors' offices were okay with that process, then I think it could really expedite patient care.
The study hopes this will lead to a wider distribution and acceptance of at-home testing across the country. And Sooner basketball is moving towards the future.
Addie, I hear that one standout player just announced he's going pro.
You heard right. After 4 years, this phenom is moving on to the NBA draft. Stick around because sports is right around the corner. Thanks for sticking with us. Now let's get fired up for sports. The Supreme Court is looking at a case that could determine how the NCAA handles its players' benefits. The question is whether NCAA deserves special relief from normal antitrust rules in order to preserve amateurism in college sports. Several justices expressed their concern that by allowing more room for payment, the amateur feel of college sports will be taken away. This is the first time in nearly 4 decades the nation's highest court has weighed in on the business of college sports. A final ruling is expected to be made in early July. Sooner guard Austin Reaves announced today that he is declaring for this year's NBA draft. Due to COVID-19, Reaves had 1 year of college eligibility left but decided to forego it and pursue his lifelong dream. Reaves led the Sooners in points, rebounds, and assists this past season and discusses how everything he went through this season can be translated to his mindset as he declares for the NBA.
That possibility you could drop 2, 3, 4 in a row. And I mean, that's what we did, honestly. I mean, like I said, you just got to really forget about it, move forward. And then, like I said, it's a different basketball game now. Like, you got to win games.
Reaves' teammate Davion Harmon announced he was declaring for the draft as well last week. Well, it's about that time where we feel that March sadness, and after last night, 2 teams really felt that Final Four blues. Undefeated Gonzaga crushed USC last night, which means the Bulldogs are just 2 wins shy from being the first undefeated team to win the tourney since 1976. And how about those Bruins? UCLA pulled off a nail-biting 51-49 win against number 1 seeded Michigan. This is their first trip to the Final Four since 2008, and Mick Cronin explains why you shouldn't count them out.
April 9th, 2019, I told you I spell fun, W-I-N. And our scoring's been elite. You know, we're 11 or 12 offense, but tonight it was our defense. You got to find a way to win. It's, you know, these guys are having the most fun they've ever had in their life back in that locker room because they won.
OU senior golfer Caitlin Milligan tees off today as just one of the world's 85 best amateur golfers in the Augusta Women's National. Over her career as a Sooner, Mulligan has established one of the best careers in program history. A champion will be crowned in Georgia on Saturday. And the OU baseball team took the L last night in Stillwater, but hey, opening day is less than 24 hours away. This new season will be returning to a full schedule of 162 games, with all 30 teams springing into action tomorrow. The New York Yankees have Garrett Cole on the mound throwing heat to the Blue Jays, and Francisco Lindor makes his debut as a Met to face the Nats. After a season of empty stands, all of the 15 ballparks being played at tomorrow will have limited fans. The UConn superstar Paige Beckers is the first freshman to earn Women's Basketball Player of the Year. Beckers guided the Huskies to their 13th consecutive Final Four appearance, penciling in 28 points against the Buckeyes. She was favored to win 21 of the 30 panel votes. And for UConn, this is the 12th time a player has been honored. Get this, Paige is actually hometown friends with the freshman phenom Jalen Suggs from Gonzaga. After watching Monday's game, Suggs called Beckers the GOAT. How about that?
You know, I'd say she definitely deserves it. Now, thanks, Addie. There's a museum up in Wisconsin that has a sweet exhibit.
Find out what makes it so sweet when OU Nightly returns.
I'm Romelo Woodfork at the OU Nightly Update Desk. President Joseph Harris has just announced the first dorm to be torn down and renovated as part of the university's plan will be Adams Tower. OU has entered an agreement to acquire the Cross Complex for use by freshman students in the fall. When the Board of Regents has approved the deal, the university will begin creating housing plans for Cross Village. Back to you in the studio.
A Wisconsin Art Museum has come up with a sweet exhibit, Peep This.
This exhibit is full of artwork made out of or inspired by Peeps candy. It's the 12th year of the seasonal contest, and this year, people from around the country submitted nearly 150 pieces of art in the museum.
The creations include everything from dioramas and sculptures to paintings. And Taylor, let's get one last look at this great weather.
Y'all, peep this. These temperatures. They're beautiful. I mean, tomorrow's gonna be 65 degrees, Friday 66, all this sunny weather in our forecast. Literally sunny and 75 on Sunday. Monday's looking great too. Tuesday, beautiful, 81 degrees. I hope you're ready for some spring night temperatures. Back to you.
Thanks, Taylor. Definitely ready for those spring-like temperatures.
Warm.
I love spring.
Yes.
Favorite season. Now, thank you for watching OU Nightly, brought to you from the corner of Lindsay and Asp.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night, same time, same place.
Have a great night.